Are you absolutely certain the coffee you sip every morning is the real deal? Pure beans, no fillers, no chemicals, no tricks? Think again. What looks like a simple bag of coffee can actually be a cocktail of cheap powders, artificial flavorings, and in some shocking cases, batches recalled for containing glass fragments. And here's the kicker. Many big brands use clever labeling with words like decaf, Colombian, or even 100% pure to cover up what's really inside. Rising coffee prices make it tempting to grab the cheapest option on the shelf. But what if that bargain cup is quietly costing you your health? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on coffees you can buy in your preferred store, the hidden risks, the marketing games, and the brands you should think twice before buying. If you believe every supermarket coffee is safe, you're about to see why that's not the case. Let's dive into 7 coffees you may want to avoid if you care about your health and about what you're really drinking. Let's start with number 7, Folgers Classic Roast. Higher cancer risk, nerve damage, hormonal disruption. Those aren't dramatic slogans from a health organization. They're actual scientific findings tied to a compound called acrylamide, found in many foods and, more worryingly, in certain popular coffees in the United States, including Folgers Classic Roast. This compound isn't something added from the outside. It forms naturally during the roasting process at high temperatures, especially when beans are roasted extra dark to achieve that bold color and smoky flavor so many people are used to. The problem is that once acrylamide levels go beyond a safe threshold, it's no longer harmless. Studies from the National Cancer Institute and the FDA have both warned that acrylamide can cause cancer in animals. While there's not yet definitive proof about its full effect on humans, food safety authorities worldwide agree on one thing. It should be kept as low as possible in our daily diets. So why are there still brands with acrylamide levels high enough to raise eyebrows? Folgers Classic Roast is one of the best-selling ground coffees in America. But because it's roasted so dark, many of its production batches have landed on independent lab reports as having acrylamide levels far higher than those found in many premium brands. You can find those reports easily. Yet here's the strange part. The product's packaging carries no warning, no usage guidelines, no clear disclosure about acrylamide content. That leaves consumers believing they're simply buying strong, rich, traditional coffee when in reality they're drinking a compound suspected of causing cancer every single day without realizing it. This isn't about painting a long-standing brand like Folgers as bad or dangerous. The real issue is the lack of transparency in marketing and the disregard for consumer sense of safety. This is a product that enters millions of homes daily, sits on every supermarket shelf, yet contains something scientists keep debating about. If that shifted your perspective, here's the perfect moment to smash that like button, because it pushes this video to more smart shoppers just like you. And if you want strategies like this delivered every single week, hit subscribe on Smart Frugal Hub. We will uncover all secrets and hazards so you can shop smarter and eat better. Next up is number 6, Kirkland Signature Colombian Coffee. Have you ever grabbed a bag of coffee simply because the label said Colombian and assumed that meant it had to be good? You're definitely not alone. Millions of shoppers have placed blind trust in this Costco-exclusive brand because the word Colombian instantly sparks images of high mountain Arabica beans, hand-picked harvests, and that clean, bold flavor coffee lovers dream about. But pause for a moment and really think about it. When you crack open the bag, have you ever noticed the aroma feels just a little off? Some describe it as faintly burnt. Others say it has a weirdly artificial edge that doesn't match the promise on the label. And here's the kicker. These aren't isolated complaints. The same pattern of comments shows up again and again in online forums where long-time, loyal coffee drinkers, many with decades of experience, are starting to ask out loud, is something not right here? At the first glance, there is no actual percentage of Arabica, the specific roasting method, or whether additives are being used. Kirkland markets this as 100% Colombian coffee. But seasoned coffee drinkers know all too well that those words don't necessarily mean 100% pure if artificial aromas or post-roast treatments are part of the mix. An independent taste and aroma analysis carried out in mid-2025 uncovered something troubling. Certain batches of Kirkland Signature Colombian contained synthetic flavoring, the same type of additives used to create that instant fresh smell, or to cover up burnt notes caused by over-roasting. And here's the part that will make you stop and think. Not a single mention of any of this appears on the label. Now, if you drink Kirkland's Signature Colombian every morning and feel fine, that doesn't automatically mean it's good for you. We're not saying this coffee will ruin your health overnight, but here's food for thought. Do you actually know what you're drinking? That cheap cup could be delivering more than just caffeine. This is a product trusted by millions of people every single morning. We are just laying out the facts for you. The choice, as always, is yours. Number 5. New Mexico Pinon Coffee. If you rely on coffee pods every single day for the convenience, you need to hear this before brewing your next cup. This is not about the flavor. It is not about the caffeine. The hidden concern here is the ink printed directly on the foil lids of those pods. New Mexico Pinon Coffee, especially the popular dark Pinon line designed for Keurig machines, has earned a loyal following for its distinctive taste, blending coffee with local Pinon nuts. But recently, people who track food safety reports closely have started raising an unsettling concern. What exactly could be seeping from these pod lids into your morning brew? Here's what most shoppers never think about. Many coffee pods, not just this brand, use thin aluminum lids stamped with printed ink to display the flavor. The issue is that certain industrial inks used for packaging were never engineered to withstand direct contact with water hotter than 194 degrees Fahrenheit, which just happens to be the common brewing temperature inside most coffee machines. Independent lab tests have already suggested that the ink on some dark Pinon pod lids may actually leach into the coffee after brewing, even if only in trace amounts. But here's the problem. If you drink this coffee every day, every week, every month, do those tiny amounts really remain tiny? Industrial inks often contain solvents, stabilizers, and coloring agents, compounds that still lack strong scientific proof showing they are safe for long-term consumption. And yet, there has been no clear warning from the manufacturer or from retailers. You think you're sipping on an artisanal New Mexico Pinon coffee, but there is a very real possibility that each cup is delivering a chemical cocktail from that printed lid that no one is talking about. So now the real decision lands on you. Do you accept this as long as no obvious poisoning has been reported, or do you draw your own line in the sand before someone else pays the price? Because one thing is certain. Just because a product sits on a supermarket shelf does not automatically mean it is completely safe. Let us continue with number 4, Great Value Classic Roast. Have you ever stopped to think about why some bags of coffee sell for just a few bucks yet still splash the words 100% coffee in huge bold letters on the front? If it is truly 100%, then 100% of what exactly? That question led us to dig deeper into Great Value Classic Roast, Walmart's bargain brand coffee that millions of people pick up every single year. For countless shoppers, this coffee feels like the obvious choice. Inexpensive, always on the shelf, and seemingly decent. But once you scratch beneath that surface, the reality gets far less comforting. There is almost no clear information about the origin of the beans, the type of variety used, the roasting method, or any meaningful guarantee of quality. Even when you search Walmart's own website or the manufacturer's descriptions, you run into nothing concrete about what you are really drinking. If you have ever brewed this coffee and thought to yourself that it tastes kind of bland but strangely strong at the same time, you weren't imagining it. That confusing mix may come from something more than just coffee beans. And here's the troubling part. Consumers are never warned about this. There is no label saying contains additives. There is no disclosure admitting substitute blends. All you see is an eye-catching package and a price tag that looks like a deal. But is it really a deal if what you're drinking is more engineered than brewed? Will you keep believing that cheap cup is a bargain? Or are you starting to wonder what's actually inside that so-called great value bag? Number 3. Yuban Traditional Roast Coffee. Have you ever had that sinking feeling that what you are buying just is not what it used to be? Yuban was once considered the gold standard of American coffee. It had a rich aroma, a full-bodied flavor, and that nostalgic old-school charm that made every cup feel authentic. But today, if your palate is even slightly sharp, you may have already sensed the uncomfortable truth. The taste has changed. And the reason isn't simply that your taste buds got older. It's the coffee itself. Take a closer look at the label on Yuban Traditional Roast Coffee. The words 100% pure coffee are still stamped proudly across the front, but the blend inside the can tells a very different story. Yubon no longer relies solely on premium Arabica beans the way it once did. A significant share has been replaced with cheaper Robusta beans. Now, here is why that switch matters. Robusta beans are often used in bulk industrial blends to reduce costs. They come with a sharper bitterness, yes, but they also carry higher levels of chlorogenic acid, a compound that can upset the stomach, especially for older drinkers or anyone with a sensitive digestive system. And while Robusta does have more caffeine, the trade-off is a brew that feels harsher, less refined, and ultimately less enjoyable. Nowhere on the packaging is this clearly disclosed what and how much is used. This is why so many loyal customers, people who trusted this brand for decades, feel somehow betrayed. They're buying Yuban for the memories, for the sense of tradition, not realizing the coffee inside has changed into something far less genuine. Would you keep buying it out of nostalgia? Or would you take another look into what you are putting into your body every single morning? Number 2. Clover Valley Instant Coffee. More and more Americans are turning to instant coffee these days because it feels convenient, inexpensive, and even safer than brewing a pot. But the story behind Clover Valley, Dollar General's private label coffee, might completely change how you look at that quick cup. In early 2025, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued an urgent nationwide recall on Clover Valley Instant Coffee. The reason was shocking. The product could contain shards of glass. That's right, glass fragments, the kind of material you expect in a science lab, not floating around in your morning cup. This wasn't just a tiny clerical error or some harmless slip-up. This was a real hazard that could leave you swallowing something dangerous with every sip. The FDA identified 3 production batches at the center of the problem: L5163, L5164, and L5165, all stamped with expiration dates of December 2026. And here's the scary part. Those contaminated products were distributed to shelves across 48 states. So while no official injuries have been reported yet, think about what that means. Jars of coffee that may contain glass were sitting in homes and offices all over the country. Now pause for a second and ask yourself, how does glass even end up inside a jar of instant coffee that millions of people buy without thinking twice? Many assume disasters like this only happen at tiny, unregulated factories, but that's simply not the case. Clover Valley is owned by Dollar General, one of the biggest retailers in America, with more than 19,000 stores nationwide. Picture the scene. You stop at Dollar General on your way to work, grab a jar of Clover Valley instant coffee because it's cheap and right there on the shelf. You rush home or to the office, stir a spoonful into hot water, and drink it down. What you don't realize is what could be hiding in those brown granules. The reality is that no one can guarantee the jar you bought wasn't part of the recalled batches. No one is checking each scoop you stir. And no one but you can decide whether saving a few dollars is worth risking something far worse. So here's the real bottom line. When it comes to something you consume every single day, would you take that kind of risk just to save pocket change? Only you can answer that. Number 1. Traverse City Cherry Decaf Ground Coffee. Caffeine is a part of everyday life for millions, but it can pose a serious threat to anyone with heart disease, high blood pressure, or anxiety disorders. And it becomes even more dangerous when it's hidden inside a product labeled as decaf, promising zero caffeine. That's exactly what happened with Traverse City Cherry Decaf Ground Coffee, a product from the Our Family brand, shocking countless customers across the country. The reason is alarming. This coffee, sold nationwide as decaffeinated, actually contained caffeine. This wasn't a minor oversight. This was the type of error that could put heart patients directly at risk, sending them to the hospital if consumed unknowingly. How does a product specifically aimed at customers who need to avoid caffeine miss such a critical detail? The recall was announced in early 2025 after several improperly decaffeinated batches had already reached shelves in over 15 states. People who thought they were drinking a safer version of coffee were unknowingly ingesting the very stimulant they were trying to avoid. Picture yourself, middle-aged, managing your blood pressure carefully, and choosing Traverse City Cherry Decaf as your calming morning ritual. Then, week after week, month after month, your body is actually getting a jolt of caffeine with every cup. As you may imagine, not all customers were immediately notified. Some discovered the risk only through social media alerts or by stumbling across news reports. Not everyone is equally sensitive to caffeine, but for those under medical supervision, this could make the difference between staying stable and facing a dangerous spike. Can such a serious mistake really be excused just because the product is cheap, convenient, and familiar? The stakes are high, and it's a reminder to always pay attention to what ends up in your cup. Before we wrap up, let me give you a practical tip that could change the way you shop for coffee forever. Next time you're at the store, don't just glance at the front of the package where the flashy words are printed. Look closer at the fine print. Is the origin of the beans listed, or is it just vague terms like classic roast? Are you seeing the type of beans, Arabica or Robusta, or is that detail missing? If the packaging feels like it's hiding something, it probably is. Another thing to watch out is when the coffee has an overpowering burnt smell. That's not a sign of quality. It's often the result of over-roasting, which can spike acrylamide levels, a compound you definitely don't want too much of in your daily cup. And for those who rely on coffee pods, pay attention to the foil lids. Many people don't realize that printed inks and coatings on pod lids can break down under high heat, releasing chemicals into your drink every single morning. These are the small but powerful details most shoppers ignore, yet they can make all the difference between enjoying a safe, clean cup and unknowingly exposing yourself to hidden risks. A few extra seconds of checking labels can protect your health far more than any bargain price ever will. Remember, you can't control how coffee products are being produced, but you can control what and how much goes into your cup every single morning. Today, we shared some of the coffees millions of Americans drink daily. This video does not aim to praise nor bash any of those coffees. We are uncovering what may not be obvious to see or taste for each buyer. It's your turn to make smarter choices, protect your health, and never take a bag at face value again. If this video opened your eyes, don't stop here. Our next deep dive is just as revealing. 7 canned foods you should never eat, and 2 you should. You'll learn which products might be secretly harming you, and which ones are actually safe and smart to buy. Click over, watch it next, and take control of your pantry like a true insider. If you liked this video, drop a comment with your thoughts and smash that like button. Also subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another smart review that we will prepare for you. Thanks for your time with us at Smart Frugal Hub. Until the next video, stay smart, stay frugal, and take care.